We have Infinity War coming out in like a week, and I'm super excited. But I firmly believe that the DCEU could have been just as epic as the MCU is right now. So here are my 5 ways I think they could have been there. What do you think? Welcome to Durbania, I'm Durbin, and this is my 5 ways that I think the DCEU could have been just as epic as the MCU is now. This video has no intention to be a DC hater video, a DC bashing video, mainly because, look at this shirt. I love DC. I love DC Comics. I love their stories. And I don't hate the present DCEU. I'm a little disappointed in it. I feel like they kind of rushed through and missed some great potential, which is what this video is a look at. I am beyond excited for Infinity War. I just cannot wait for this movie. And so in being excited for this movie, I can't help but take a little look back at DC and going, come on, guys. You could have been just as epic as the MCU is right now. So I've thought up of 5 ways that DC could be there. One more thing. I just want to say this. I am a fanboy of DC and Marvel. Period. This is not a DC versus Marvel thing. This is not a DC sucks thing. I'm just throwing that out there because I know it's going to pop up in the comments. I love both. Okay? I'm just a fan of superheroes. And let's remember as we dig into this, all this stuff is people wearing spandex who fight crime. So let's just have fun with it. And I'm a fan of both Marvel and DC, but this is my thoughts on how DC could have been much more epic. Number 5, a Batman solo film. That would have made all the difference in the world, I think, if right after Man of Steel, we got a Batman solo film. You're gonna find a common thread in this ranking here, in this video here, that a lot of the stuff I think they should have done is just solo films to fill us in on these heroes and get us introduced to them in this universe. Now, when I say a Batman solo film, we do not need an origin story for Batman. We just don't need that anymore. But as we're doing this reboot of Batman, let's have it start mid-career. If you go over to Cody Leach's channel and watch his first episode of Pitch Wars that I gotta be on, I did this interesting Justice League story. Cody Leach did the most amazing solo Batman story I think I've ever heard. So make sure you check that out. The gist of his solo Batman movie is this. It takes place at the point in his career where he has Batgirl Barbara Gordon fighting with him and Jason Todd as Robin fighting with him. And it's kind of like a Killing Joke and a Death in the Family combined, where you have the Joker who shoots Batgirl through the spine, paralyzing her, and Jason Todd mad that Batman won't kill, because if Batman killed, this whole darn thing would have been taken care of, so he goes to find the Joker on his own and gets himself killed. Of course, we all know this is just building up to the Red Hood storyline, but the point is that this is a Batman that is at this point in his life, that the Joker has taken Barbara from him. The Joker has taken Jason Todd from him. And something that could be really cool that Cody Leach had in his story is that while he's trying to track down Jason Todd and find out where he is, Zod pops up on the TV screen with the "you are not alone" thing. So Batman has to quickly go to Metropolis, kind of investigate this. This is when the attack starts, the Superman-Zod fight starts, and Batman can't get out of the city because in their fist fight, the freaking city is collapsing all around him. And instead of a stranger dying in that Wayne Tower building, that Jack dude, let's have it be Fox. Batman was powerless to save Fox. Batman was powerless to get out of the city to save Jason Todd in time. So Barbara is paralyzed. Jason Todd, for all he knows, is dead. Fox is dead. And he finally gets the Joker, but it's too late. And so in Batman vs. Superman, where they go off on this whole tirade about how Bruce feels powerless because of Superman.
A feeling of powerlessness that turns good men cruel.
Why not just show that? Why not do a solo Batman movie where we get to meet these characters and we get to see what about Superman's presence provokes Batman to such anger? So if we're going to rush the Darkest Knight storyline, let's rush it with style. Let's really give Batman a reason to have hatred towards Superman. To see Barbara in that hospital bed. To see Jason Todd's blood all over the floor and Batman getting there too late. To see Fox die in that tower in that Superman-Zod fight, and Batman couldn't do anything about any of it. That powerlessness really affected him, and the death of his parents, all that stuff feeding into it, it's just affecting him. So I think that would be a really interesting solo Batman film. Number 4, I think we needed a Man of Steel 2. Like right after the solo Batman film, the 3rd entry in this franchise should have been a second solo Superman movie. Now here's what I think would have been really interesting. A lot of people didn't like the darkness of Man of Steel. It didn't bother me. I didn't mind Superman not knowing where he belonged in the world, so he is a bit more broody. Come on. If the dude shakes somebody's hand wrong, their hand would like disintegrate into nothing. So like he's a guy who's like living in a cardboard box world trying to figure out where he belongs. He's an outsider looking in. So at the end of Man of Steel, he's a superhero now. He's like the superhero that everybody looks to the skies to. Except I like the version of this where people are still afraid of him. They don't know what to think of him. So it'd be interesting in Man of Steel 2 having him deal with the fallout of the destruction of Metropolis in that battle. Him dealing with his own guilt. You know, somebody said in one of my comments once, one of the things they didn't like about Man of Steel is how when he was fighting Zod and Zod kicked that truck at him, Superman would have caught the truck before the truck hit the garage and blew up and potentially killed a lot of people. Like Superman would have caught debris as Zod would have thrown it, and he didn't do that. So let's have Superman think about that and think about those things and how he could have done this different, how he could have done this better, and how this is profoundly affecting him. Let's make this the villain of this Parasite, and I think it'd be really interesting in a Man of Steel sequel to see like he surrenders his Fortress of Solitude ship that crashed in Metropolis to humanity, and humanity's reverse engineering it and using Kryptonian tech. Like Ferris Air becomes Ferris Galactic, and because of Kryptonian tech, they can now get to Mars really fast, and Hal Jordan gets to pilot that. How cool would that be? As Central City finally gets its particle accelerator because of Kryptonian tech. LuxCorp, great deals with Kryptonian tech and learning how to alter human genetics, which creates our villain Parasite, who is a villain who can't thrive without energy. So he has to touch another human being and literally suck out their energy, their life force, just so that he can maintain some semblance of life. That's how much like it messed with him, this genetic modification. So he's an interesting villain, and what can make this really interesting is Superman goes to stop him and he absorbs all of Superman's power. So Superman is 100% powerless, period. And, you know, within about 3 days or so, he will regain all of his power just by absorbing the sun. But let's let these 3 days be the biggest learning curve in Superman's life, where he sees what it's like to, like, I don't know, stub your toe. And it hurts! And he has to deal with that pain. It's minor. It's like a minor thing, but that would be the end of the world for him. It really would. He's never felt pain and never felt pain over something so simple. And let that be a profound thing. Maybe he cuts himself and his body is ill-equipped to deal with it because it's used to being superpowered. Now that it's totally depowered, he doesn't have the antibodies to deal with just a simple cut. And maybe he's getting a drastic infection. So he's seeing how fragile the human condition is. What we loved about Wonder Woman was her hopefulness, was how much she passionately wanted to insert herself in all these situations where people were in pain to save them and to help them. I think we all loved that about Wonder Woman. Let's make that Superman now that he's without his powers, he has an infection, he stubbed his toe, and he's having these profound experiences, and it all hurts, but now he doesn't have the power to save somebody who's being mugged. He doesn't have the power to help somebody who was in a car accident. He doesn't have the power to help the way he used to help. Let's let that make him feel even more powerless and even more of an urge and a calling to be a hero to mankind and be a light to mankind. And let's see that like light up in his eyes, and he begins to find his identity. So within 3 days, when he absorbs the energy from the sun and the fullness of his powers returns to him, let's see him come with a renewed hope to be a light and an example to humanity. So now we can actually watch him grow into the hero we know him to be. I think we would have less negative things to say about Man of Steel if we spent the appropriate time to deal with the fallout of that movie and watch him grow into the hero that he's meant to be. And if we actually watched him arrive there, I think there would have been a nice payoff. Number 3, following a Man of Steel sequel, we should have done a Flash solo film. And we could have had a lot of fun playing with this because it could have been like the Flash is inspired by Superman. So when he gets powers from a particle accelerator, you know, made from Kryptonian tech, maybe he decides, wow, look what Superman does. Now look what I can do. So he decides to put on a costume and go out and save the world. Let's meet Joe West. Let's meet Iris West. Let's meet his world in this cinematic universe and watch him learn to be a hero. He was one of the best parts of Justice League, so it'd be cool to see him in his own film where we get introduced to him on his own ground. Maybe the villain is Reverse Flash and he begins to learn that he can time travel. Maybe he doesn't master it yet, but this, him learning to time travel will bring explanation to Batman vs. Superman when Batman sees that crazeball vision of a post-apocalyptic world where he sees the Flash in that lightning burst saying, "Am I too soon?" Like, it would be really cool to see the Flash learning to time travel and thus getting an understanding, so when we introduce that stuff in BVS, how cool that would be. And after the Flash movie, we move into Batman vs. Superman, which could be a lot deeper and a lot better because we've already done a solo Batman, we've done 2 solo Supermans. I mean, there's a lot more that can be done, and there's more room to play with things and make things deeper. Number 2, no Suicide Squad. Instead of Suicide Squad, let's make it a solo Aquaman. And let's build into that character of Aquaman. Let's have it take place after BVS, after the death of Superman, and let's have some fun with that. Like, maybe, as Arthur Curry, his dad has just died. He doesn't know why he has powers. He knows he belongs to the sea, but what does that mean that he belongs to the sea? So he doesn't feel like he fits in anywhere. Why not play with that? And part of what makes him not feel like he even fits in with humanity is the silliness of man's hypocrisy. Superman's alive. Oh, I hate Superman. He's so scary. Superman dies. Oh, he died for us. Oh, we love and honor the Superman. Like, that would be awesome to see him laughing a little bit at humanity's stupidity in that, and maybe that could just feed into this narrative a little bit to show how he doesn't belong to the world. And let's just follow some of the plot points of Throne of Atlantis. Take out the Justice League parts of Throne of Atlantis and follow the Arthur Curry story beats where he meets Mira, he sees Atlantis. And how great would it be where Wonder Woman is the very next movie? So you have 2 sci-fi fantasy epic movies back to back. It would actually feel like it fits really well together, and I think it would jive really well to have it work together like that. Plus, Jason Momoa, I hope I'm saying his last name right. Dude, I love that guy. He was great as Aquaman. I just would have loved to have gotten to know him before Justice League. Number 1, Justice League itself. Now, I think by doing solo movies and taking our time with these heroes solves already a ton of problems with Justice League. But one thing we really needed to do was at least keep the tone of darkness that was in BVS and let the movie get progressively brighter. Rather than trying to be all funny and give Batman jokes at first and things like that, why do that? We gotta start where we left off with BVS and keep that tone, and then we gotta build to it being something lighter. Secondly, let's not make Steppenwolf the main villain. Let's just let it be Darkseid. That villain is awesome, he's mean, he's got purpose, and with him as the villain, you could actually take some of the plot lines of Justice League War. And one of the plot lines of Justice League War, the Parademons wanted to get Superman. They wanted to bring him to Darkseid because he would then convert Kryptonian flesh into Parademon flesh, so you would have a race of super Parademons. So when you watch the animated movie Justice League War, you really get why Darkseid wants Superman's body. Why the Flash has to run back in time to warn Batman, Lois is the key. So you can make Justice League War into a live action film, but since you have to deal with the death of Superman, make a huge central part of the plot the race to who gets to Superman's body first. And having the Justice League get there first, we could have the gratefulness rise up in Superman that he's not dead no more, the gratefulness that these strangers to him put their lives on the line for him, and have that inspire him even more, and he becomes even more of a brighter character, which could then take this DC universe and lead it into a brighter place. So instead of just jarring us every which way and being reactionary, we're taking it and building it in those directions we want it to go, thus even making it worth it, the darkness we've been through. Anyway, those are my 5 ways that they could have taken the DCEU and had it be just as epic as the MCU is right now. What do you think? What are some ways that you think they could have made the DCEU just as epic? How excited are you for both Aquaman in December and Infinity War this week? Woo! I cannot wait. Anyway, I'm excited. How excited are you? Let me know in the comments. And while you're there, hit the subscribe button to become a Durbanian and hit the bell by the subscribe button so you're notified the next time I drop a ranking video, theological analysis, movie review like my soon review for Infinity Wars. Yes! Anyway, I'm super excited for all of that. I can't wait to hear from you. I'm Durbin. Thanks for checking out Durbania.